I used to be in charge of the land care program on Cape York, or at least I thought I was. Now I know better. Now I understand that natural ecosystems on the peninsula are in charge, that they are the experts, with over 3 billion years of accumulated wisdom in developing healthy country. To set them aside like old technology and ignore the wisdom embedded in them is a mistake. Healthy natural ecosystems are our role models of best practice because they are highly productive without needing masses of external inputs of natural resources. They are resilient, they're able to look after themselves, and they don't create pollution or waste. All of the things we would like from the land that we manage. So it makes sense to learn from their intellectual property, and innovative land managers around the world are realizing this. Gabe Brown and his family farm over 6,000 acres in North Dakota. 20 years ago, they had a complete rethink about their farming practices, discovering that the answer to their degraded soil was to imitate healthy rangeland ecosystems in their region. How did they do this? By not using pesticides and moving cattle in dense mobs across their land, mimicking the grazing patterns of bison. And by growing an assortment of grains plus cover crops and other ecological support plants, mimicking the diversity of rangeland ecosystem plants. They are now more productive than their neighbours, and they leave the job of creating good soil structure to the experts, their soil organisms. For Gabe Brown, mechanical cultivation, i.e. his tractor, is old technology. In Scotland, at a much smaller scale, Graham Bell and his family have developed a food-growing ecosystem mimicking the ancient forests of their region. By cleverly managing the light levels in the canopy and growing a diversity of perennial food plants, they are producing 1 ton of food on just 1/5 of an acre per year, and it takes them less than 2 days a week to do it. When I bought Hilltop Farm 10 years ago, I decided that I had a choice. I could continue to manage the farm, sustaining the existing degraded conditions, this scenario, which meant that I would spend the rest of my active life treating the symptoms, or I could put in some hard yakka and upfront costs to restore the health of my country in ways, and I want to emphasize this, that enable the improvements to become self-maintaining. To do this, I'm converting a virtual monoculture of introduced African grass into multi-layered production systems, mimicking the forest architecture that formerly occurred on my red volcanic soils. By increasing the number of photosynthetic panels and providing more organic material to feed my soil organisms, I am turbocharging my ecosystem with solar energy and a fully functional nutrient recycling system. I'm improving my natural resources and production systems in ways that become more self-maintaining. Here's 2 soil samples from my orchard. Superficially, they look the same, but look closer at the one on the right, and you can see that it has a better soil structure. Lots of aggregates rather than big clumps or big lumps. Both get the same treatment from me, but the one on the right has layers of vegetation growing above it. Living mulch, feeding the soil organisms, the soil structural engineers. This is the positive feedback loop I am using to create low-maintenance production systems at Hilltop Farm. Remineralising our soil and giving our soil organisms a feast of organic material is the crucial first step. Because with healthier populations of soil organisms, our soil structure starts to improve. It's how we kickstart the recovery process. How we design our farms and backyards will dictate whether we have to regularly add compost, mulch, and other usual stuff to our system, or that it will do it itself. In forested regions, we can mimic the architecture of forests with layers of vegetation and orchards and food forests. In grassland ecosystems, pastoralists are starting to use holistic grazing. It's a technique to recycle above ground biomass rather than have it go up in smoke. The challenge for us as land carers on Cape York Peninsula is that virtually all of the country that we manage is degrading. And we're busily treating the symptoms: bare compacted soils, weeds, pests, wildfires, and it's not getting any easier as with climate change. We need to be innovative by using the realistic vantage point an ecosystem provides, and by doing so we'll find new and exciting techniques to regenerate our country. It's an approach I'm really excited about, and I help other people to use. And I'm just finishing off 2 examples. One of them was an aerial photo of the Archer River Country, Yukobaja area, where we're actually working to put in high-value bush food plants that are adapted to the growing conditions on the site as a tool to fund riparian restoration work. And this other interesting approach is in Western Queensland, where they had gully erosion, but instead of using heavy machinery, they created a yard, put a whole lot of cattle in overnight, and it's called biological carpeting. The cattle just shitted everywhere, and that was what came out at the end. Yeah, fertilising seeds. So thank you.